I know you've talked about, as with many young actors, they put up folks like De Niro, but for the next generation, it was DiCaprio and the way
Yeah,
he
I mean,
carried himself and the choices he made, et cetera. Everything about it, the acting, but also the way he crafted a career.
yeah.
Um, did was I guess, when did you guys, because you've connected obviously thanks through Quentin, et cetera. Is he somebody that you can lean on, can, in this very pivotal time in your career, that you can kind of pick the brain of?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say like the, when I was, starting around 14 and I'm acting, Leo was the guy. He was the guy that I looked at and I just thought he's done this flawlessly to be able to transition, him making Gilbert Grape and Basketball Diaries and then moving forward and Romeo and Juliet and all the films that he's just, you see how much work he puts into everything that he does.
Yep.
And it's as though he never takes his foot off the gas. He gives it 100% every time. I respect that so much about him. And it was learning that he, around the time of Aviator, he started working with this acting coach, Larry Moss. And so when I was 15, I wrote Larry a letter and I said, yeah, I would do anything to work with you. And it was a couple years later, I did a play in LA and I finally got to work with Larry for the first time. And, but Leo's been, I've had a lot of really special moments now, like the night that I saw Elvis for the first time. He was there and he sort of snuck in the back and then we got to see each other afterward and we just talked for a long we talked for a long while and yeah, it's moments like that to be able to pick his brain.
Yeah.
And he's very generous, and he's also he's somehow, I'm so impressed with it. He's remained very humble and knows how lucky we are.
Right.
That's something he told me one night. We're so lucky in this industry just to get an inch.
Yeah.
And so we are so fortunate, and never lose sight of that. And so that type of thing, I think that's what gives you longevity in that way, because then you don't take it for granted.
Well, and he knows, like you do, because he's been acting his entire life, and
Yeah.
he was the kid star on the sitcom and everything, and that's a path, and it's fine, it's great, it can be rewarding in its own way, and I'm sure the stuff on Nick and Disney you enjoyed, and you wouldn't trade that in,
No.
but not a lot of people are able to make that transition, and it's just like, and it seems from the outside looking in, the pivot point for you, and it's a really admirable thing that you did. I mean, like, on paper, it looks like, why wouldn't you do that? But a lot of actors wouldn't. Is
Mm.
working on Iceman Cometh
Mm.
and going and making a point of, like, trying to do theater, trying to do Broadway, and taking on something like that. Does that, in retrospect, feel like maybe the biggest pivot point in the